Kings, we pound for pound. UFC thrills, stills nights get loud. Big EQP, that's how we get down.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GRP. Back at it again on the actual Thursday this week. We're in here, ready to go. We got UFC Baku coming up this weekend, and on Saturday, it's going to be an early one. So be ready for that. We got like a midday start, if I remember correctly. Of course, I'm going to go over all of this. Actually, the prelims start at 9 a.m. That's early. But it's all good. That just means daytime fights. The main card starts at noon. So that looked a little dark, so I had to hit that light real quick. But yeah, so UFC Baku, Azerbaijan, happening Saturday during the day. I believe we have PFL going on right now. Once again, they like to do it on Thursdays. I don't know. Oh no, is it tomorrow? Shit, it might be tomorrow. I just thought about the fact that I remembered thinking it was today. Yeah, it is tomorrow. Yeah. So it's not going on today. It's happening tomorrow. So we'll touch on that too. There's a BKFC going on as well. So we got some good combat sports going on this weekend. As far as for me, I don't have a whole lot going on this weekend, which I'm kind of happy about. It's been a busy few weekends, and yeah, now we're here. Just not a whole lot going on, and it'll be time to catch up on other things. My wife's been doing some crazy cleaning today, so I appreciate her for that. Just doing a bunch of stuff around the house. So that was nice. She had the day off and she spent it doing that. I'm like, damn, you should have enjoyed your day. But she's kind of like me when it comes to that. She's got to get up and do something. So that was cool. I just came home and I was like, holy shit, there's all kinds of stuff going on here. But now she's thanking me. You're welcome. You know I love you and I appreciate you. So thank you. Yeah, so a lot of people had the day off today. It's Juneteenth, so I didn't. But hey, look, my chat's actually somewhat working. That's kind of funny. I think I finally figured it out a little bit. Not just the pop-up, but the one on that side. So hopefully that means in the other screen where you can actually see it a little better that you will be able to see it. So I've been working on just trying to, get some of that stuff working. Just these little things, like the Combat Sports Today guys do the pop-up comment. Like I said before, my Tommy that I used to podcast with does the pop-up ones too. And I like that, then you get an idea for what I'm talking about when I go off on a random tangent and you're like, why is this guy talking about this right now when he was clearly on this topic? It's because stuff comes up in the chat and I like to interact with you guys, like if you're here and you're watching and you got questions or a comment or something, as long as you're not trying to be a dick, just throw it in the chat. You're going to see it on the screen now. So that's always fun. I know people like to see their stuff being recognized and interacted with. So that's a cool little new feature. I'm just trying to add little things here and there, keeping it going, keeping it interesting. And yeah, other than that, not a whole lot going on. I'm just ready for this fight card on Saturday. Gonna look into some other stuff going on this weekend as far as combat sports stuff goes, and the podcast and production things. But I'm always trying to look for something to enhance stuff and make it better. But other than that, not a whole lot going on. So I'm going to go ahead and hit up my my usual sponsor shout out, because of course I appreciate Noctane for I guess I should close that chat real fast just so that the QR code is there in case you want to scan it if you're watching on a TV or something. But scan that QR code, you can go to Noctane Smelling Salts website and check out what they have over there for sale, because they have a lot of good products. Obviously, the smelling salts being in the forefront with that. I'm not sure that they sell anything else, actually. I guess I should... Hey, my mom's checking in, too. Hey, Mom. Thank you for checking in. Love you, too. Thank you for always supporting me. But, yeah, Noctane smelling salts, of course. Look at that nice little backdrop with the buffalo trace in the back now. That's dope. I just noticed that. Anyway, I talk about it all the time. Red Cap's the most potent. I'm about to take a quick little whiff here and get myself nice and awake and alert. You shake it up so that you get I'm not doing it just to be annoying. That's what kind of activates everything in there. So I'm going to take a quick whiff. And now I'm awake. But yeah, you can, you can get yourself a bottle of these at their website. There's a link in the description below. You can hit that QR code. As usual, I appreciate the sponsorship. Noctane, I can't wait. This one's starting to wear off a little bit. You really got to get your nose in there, but when it hits, it still hits good. But I got to get a new bottle soon, and I'm going to actually try out some scents. I've never tried out the scents. I've always had just the straight up smelling salts with nothing added. So, yeah, that's going to be the next one. So I'll let you know how the scents are. I've heard they're pretty good. But yeah, they have a whole array of different scents, and I spoke with the man with the smelling salts earlier this week, and he's got some new scents coming in soon. So be on the lookout for that, and get yourself a bottle. Try it out. It's worth it, I promise. So thanks again, Noctane, for the sponsorship as usual. And other than that, I'm ready to get into talking about some combat sports news, because on Thursdays is when I really add in the news. I like to keep it to a recap on the earlier show, like on Sunday, Monday, whenever I do it. And on Thursdays, I like to, add in the extra combat sports news happening around the entire land of combat sports. At least some of it. I'm not going to cover every single thing, but the things that matter, the things that I've been following, stuff like that. So let's get into it right now. And unfortunately, we have to start off with something that's a little bit, sad. Hey, look at the chat. Looks pretty damn good now. I like that. I do not have a ton of interaction in the chat, so you're not going to see it scrolling like crazy, like you see a lot of other ones. But when the conversation gets going, at least you'll see the chat going right there. I'm not sure how that's going to work out in the background, but we'll see. We'll have to make sure that it's all in order when it gets rolling a little more. But we're starting off with Ben Askren. Of course, we've known for a while now that he's been in limbo with his health, because unfortunately he came up with a bad case of pneumonia. Included with that was some infections throughout the body, including staph, and that's obviously always scary. And we've gotten an update from his wife previously about, the state he was in and whatnot before, when we first found out. And then I talked about, Daniel Cormier saying that he was back at home, but being misunderstood, because he really just meant that he was back in Wisconsin where he lives. So he's not at home, he's still in the hospital. But there's a new update from his wife. She says, I haven't shared an update because Ben has been in limbo for a while, and I was hoping to have him wake up and be the one to decide what to share. I've had some media people contact me that they are going to share an update, and I would rather it come from me. Ben is still on a ventilator and ECMO to support him while he heals. There are good days and bad, but on the good, they have been able to wean his sedation enough for him to open his eyes and squeeze hands. His body can't handle coming off sedation too much yet. I'm still praying for a miracle with his current lungs, but they are currently starting the evaluation process for a lung transplant. That's fucking horrible. Because pneumonia is like a fluid buildup in your lungs, if I remember correctly. So when you have it bad, obviously it's gonna damage your lungs, and now they're looking for a transplant. That's crazy. Please pray for his continued healing, and if transplant is the solution, then he can get on the list quickly and easily. I know transplants are such a blessing, and I'm overwhelmed at the thought of him receiving a gift like that. No one would take better care of that gift than Ben. Yes, because obviously he's an athlete. He's been an athlete all his life, and he takes care of himself. This isn't anything that he brought on himself. This was a freak, sudden thing that happened to him. Maybe he ran his body down a little too much from overdoing stuff with work and appearances and training. But he's healthy, so it's not like he was out smoking all kinds and doing all kinds of weird shit that might cause this to happen. So that's why it's such a shock to everybody, because he's always been in such great shape. So that's why she says no one would take better care of that than Ben. Thank you for every message and all the support despite the awful situation. I'm feeling so blessed by the community we're surrounded by. Give your loved ones a hug today and make sure you're prepared for situations like this. Ben is the healthiest guy I know, and I could never have expected this, like I was saying. So yeah, man, it's a tough situation. I'm just gonna keep up with the updates in case you hadn't heard, but I haven't always been the biggest Ben Askren fan as like his persona in the sport, but I've followed him for a long time, and honestly, I liked him better when he stopped fighting. I guess his fight persona was kind of what I didn't like the most, but I've always thought he was a good dude, and I've always enjoyed him since that's been over. The fight with Jake Paul and stuff, I actually felt bad for him with the way he got knocked out and all that, but it's just like, I've enjoyed his interviews and stuff like that, more of him now than when he was fighting. But you can't deny the talent he has and had when he was actually fighting and all that. So I'm just hoping for him to get better. I never wished that kind of bad stuff on people just because I don't like them in the moment and the way that they're acting or something like that. So it's a sad thing. He's got a family, he's got kids, and his wife, obviously his wife loves him to death, and she keeps putting the updates out there regardless of how hard it is. So everybody appreciates her for that, and hopefully we get a really good update in the near future. But until then, right now we'll just keep thinking of Ben and hoping that he gets better. So that's it for that. Let's move on to some more silly kind of news, but it has to be covered because we've been following this situation, right? The Jon Jones saga between when's he gonna fight again, and I talked about this last time about the fact that somebody brought up, I think it was on the Ariel Helwani show or something like that, where someone brought up the fact that, hey, listen, it hasn't even been a year since he fought last time, which is completely true. But a champ usually has some news come out within the first 6 months of becoming the champ, right? And defending, unless he's injured or something like that. And even then we get news about when he's expected to come back or whatever. And it just seems like Jon Jones has been completely just disconnected from even wanting to come back or do anything like that. So the saga continues, and we've heard back and forth, thoughts and conspiracy theories and all that shit. But now we're getting something a little bit different from Dana White, where he says, listen, Jon Jones has been an interesting human being to deal with since the day he got here. But I will say this about him: Jon Jones has never turned down an opponent here or been afraid to fight anybody. We'll see how this thing plays out over the next couple weeks, but if we can get this fight done, we'll move on quickly. If we can't get this fight done, we'll move on quickly. We'll have answers in the next couple weeks, which I guess I cut off a word there. That's okay. But yeah, so I mean, obviously there's been all kinds of trials and tribulations when it comes to Jon Jones, between the legal problems, the steroid problems, the just constant outside of the cage issues with family and substances and all that stuff, getting arrested, everything like that. So that, and then just the dealings with the UFC, we've seen those issues too. So yeah, that's why Dana White says that. And interesting enough, he says, we'll see how these things play out over the next couple weeks. That doesn't sound so great for the situation. So then Jon Jones is on the Full Send podcast and says, I don't want to say I'm retired, because they asked him if he's retired. He says, I don't want to say that I'm retired because fighting is in my blood. Right now, I could really care less, which I couldn't care less is what he meant to say, about fighting. I've been doing it my whole life at a very high level, and when the itch comes back, if it comes back, then I'll do it with my whole heart. Aspinall is not in a position to excite me. Pause. It's the truth, because if I whoop his ass, it's going to be the next guy. There's going to be a whole new fan base of somebody that everybody believes in. And then he proceeded to say some stuff like, I've kicked and punched enough people, just more things along the lines of, hey, maybe he is actually done. He's kind of hinted around that, saying the UFC knows his plan. He doesn't know why they haven't shared it with anybody, and all that. So they continue to edge us along and you know, tease us with what might be and what might not be. But yeah, when it comes down to it, we won't know. And it still hasn't been a year since he's fought last, but by this time we usually have some kind of news. And then the whole Tom Aspinall portion of this, where he's defended the interim title, and there hasn't even been any movement in as to whether or not someone's gonna, you know, actually like commit to something. And Aspinall's already gone on and said, hey, you know, I'm moving past this. So yeah, who knows? But in the end, like, yeah, we're just gonna have to sit here and continue to wait and see what happens. But that's all there is to that. Those are the only updates for now. Now, something a little more interesting, because I'm kind of just burned out with the Jon Jones stuff, man. But I keep covering it because it is news, and you know, we're waiting and waiting. So, and I worry about Tom Aspinall and the state of his career and his prime right now that's getting wasted because he hasn't been able to fight because Jon Jones is holding things up. So yes, we all know we've been over this. But anyway, new things in the UFC. If you hadn't heard, I didn't share this before because I for one kind of forgot, but at the same time was just kind of involved in all kinds of other stuff, so I hadn't really brought it up yet. But the UFC is doing a new thing. It's called UFC BJJ, and the show's called Road to the Title, and it's basically a Ultimate Fighter style version of for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And since they signed Mikey Musumeci, who's like one of the biggest stars, the biggest just the biggest known name in Jiu-Jitsu right now, they signed him, and this is what they're doing. So they have UFC BJJ and UFC BJJ Road to the Title will both take place under the following rule set: 3 5-minute rounds, 10-point must scoring for each round. All matches will take place in the new UFC BJJ competition space, which is that first picture you see on the left. And basically, it's almost like a bowl that you skate in. That's the only way I can think of. So it's kind of a combination of an octagon slash what Karate Combat uses as the pit. It just doesn't have such high walls. It's more of a, you know, rounded off edge type thing. So it's pretty interesting. I mean, for the UFC to actually come up with something like this, you know, I'm not surprised because
I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
I had to play that because I thought of it right when I said it. I'm not surprised because obviously they're innovative and when it comes to stuff like this, but you know, for them to actually bring jiu-jitsu in under the UFC banner and use it in this fashion is it's smart, because we're bringing, you know, they're bringing light to the jiu-jitsu world. Now there's haters on this because there's already things going on like what is it, CJI, Craig Jones Invitational. That's like a whole new thing that's been happening the past couple years. I think there's been like 2 events, and you know, that's a bit different. And then there's, you know, all kinds of other events with jiu-jitsu, and then all the traditional ones as well. So this is just something new that's happening under the UFC banner too. Like, it actually has the UFC branding on it. So, and with Mikey Musumeci being one of the coaches and being the face of this whole thing, you know, that's a big thing as well, because of Musumeci leaving one championship and coming over here to do this is, you know, it's kind of like somebody leaving one to come over and fight in the UFC. Now they've been releasing episodes during the day on YouTube for free, and that's kind of cool because if you're into it and you want to see it, it's kind of on demand. You know, once they release it, you can watch it whenever you want, obviously on YouTube. And but yeah, it's been like going live during the day. Like, the episode has gone live, as in it's playing now. The events haven't been live, but yeah, it's just an Ultimate Fighter style with guys in the house and stuff. And as you can see on the picture on the right, oh, by the way, the other coach, I should say, is I believe it's pronounced kind of like Harrison Gabriel, and it's not spelled that way, but I think he's Brazilian, so the first R is silent. I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced. But we got the 2 teams in the lightweight division. I think there's another division, but I don't know if that's happening right now or not. I haven't followed closely. I am interested in all this, but I'm gonna have to catch up on it. That might be something I do this weekend, is actually catch up on it and see how it's going. I saw some highlights from a couple matches that were pretty interesting. I think the last one was Davis Asari or Asair, which is that on the blue team, the lower left corner of the blue team right there, got a win, and I'm not sure who his opponent was at the moment. But it's interesting the way that things go down. If you haven't followed jiu-jitsu, it's a good way to get involved, and then you can start watching some of the other traditional events and stuff like that to see the difference. But I mean, not a lot of people get down with, you know, the ground game and jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, but it's a good way to start to get involved and pay attention and get to learn some of the moves that are happening down there, the techniques that happen, the reason why people hold each other down and work the positions. That, you know, it's because of jiu-jitsu, and if you didn't know, that's why. So they're working positions for a submission and to be dominant and to take control. So that's a part of the game. It's called mixed martial arts for a reason, because there's not just striking, there's grappling, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. All this is involved. So this is a new way to get people involved with that. And while Dana White has said he'll never get into stuff like kickboxing or anything like that, this is something I never really expected from him and from the UFC, but they've done it. So we'll see what the outcome is and how this goes down with the fan base and what the ratings look like and all that. But for now, you know, that's what we have. And I think there's been 3, maybe 4 episodes already. So if you're interested, go check it out. It's on YouTube, free. You don't got to do anything but have a little bit of time to you know, dedicate to it and watch it. I want to say, actually, I'm going to look it up real fast, because I want to say that the episodes are not that long either. You know, I know that the Ultimate Fighter's like an hour usually. These are like 22-minute episodes, it looks like. So the last episode 4, was 9 hours ago today, and that was 22 minutes. So it's not even that long, and I know we have very short attention spans nowadays, so it's not that big of a deal, not that big of a commitment. Watch one now, one later, watch a couple a day, and you're, you know, dedicating less than an hour basically. So anyway, that's the new stuff coming from the UFC, and yeah, check it out. It seems cool to me. I'm gonna try to watch a little bit of it this upcoming weekend and catch up a little. So I'll report back after I see what it's all about. Moving on to some announcements. Well, one big announcement, which is a fight we had heard about that was rumored. We kind of knew it was coming, but we have Robert Whittaker versus RDR, Rainier de Ridder, happening at the UFC Abu Dhabi Fight Night on July 26th. This card looks pretty fucking good, actually, because let me get to it here. Okay, yes, they actually have it. So obviously our main event is Robert Whittaker versus RDR. That's interesting enough as it is, because we got the vet Whittaker, former champ in the UFC, against a former double champ from one championship in RDR. So, you know, both these guys have a lot of experience. But the experience in the UFC is a different thing, and Whittaker definitely has that above RDR. But de Ridder's been on a roll with his past couple fights, and he's been looking pretty good so far in the UFC. So that's going to be a banger of a main event for that Abu Dhabi card. And then in the co-main, we have a big debut with coming from Aaron Pico, who we've been waiting to come to the UFC. And he's finally here and signed and ready to go. So he's going to be fighting on July 26th for this card. He's going to be fighting a tough ass opponent, Movsar Evloev. I mean, shit, he's not getting any favors coming in. But you know, he's good on the ground, he's good on the feet. He's a well-rounded fighter. You know, he's been around for a bit. He was a highly touted up-and-comer, and he got leveled down a little bit when he was like in the other organizations, and he's kind of had some issues here and there, but for the most part, highly anticipated fighter to come to the UFC. Now, a lot of these guys that have come over from Bellator and PFL and stuff like that haven't had the best of luck coming into the UFC debuting. So we'll see, especially when they have tough opponents like this. I mean, Patricky Pitbull lost. Who's the other fighter? Damn it. Why did I just space out? Shit, I can't remember who the other fighter was. Just made a debut. But anyway, they just haven't had the best of luck. So we'll see what kind of luck Aaron Pico has coming over. That's your co-main there. Shara Putin Magomedov versus Marc-Andre Barrio. That's a banger. Nikita Krylov versus Bogdan Guskov. That's a hell of a fight. Asu Amabayev versus Ramazanbek Tamirov. Another good one. Asu's a damn good fighter. That's fun to watch. Piotr Yan versus Marcus McGee. Holy shit, that's a good fight. And then Bryce Mitchell dropping down to bantamweight, fighting Said Nurmagomedov. That's a tough fight for fucking Bryce. Holy shit. But I feel like that's going to be a fun one. So, I mean, already some damn good fights on that card. Obviously, not fully rounded out yet, but definitely looking good and promising. So, be on the lookout for that. July 26th coming up soon. We're already on the 19th of June. Holy shit, that's just over a month away. This year's fucking flying. It's crazy. So yeah, there's that. Moving on to the PFL event that I mentioned earlier, will be happening tomorrow night. So you have some good MMA to watch tomorrow night if you're into the PFL. And we have a familiar face on there if you're a big UFC fan. Kevin Lee. You know, he was signed to fight with the long gone GFL, because I haven't talked about that, but I mean, that is officially fucking over if you didn't know that. I was anticipating the GFL. I was so hyped for it. I was ready, and I was hoping that things were gonna follow through with that, and it just completely fell on its face and took a shit. So it's over. Now Kevin Lee is signed with the PFL, which, you know, good signing for them, but yeah, it's like, we kind of know where PFL has kind of been lately, and they've fallen off a little bit, and you know, but they still have these names that they have part of their roster, and their promotion is just not great, man. Like like if I didn't talk about it here, I wouldn't even know. I mean, yeah, I probably would, because I follow everything on social media, and I listen to a lot of other MMA shows and stuff like that, so I do know a lot about all the stuff going on. But I mean, would you guys know? I mean, not a lot of people follow that deeply. A lot of people just mainly surface level UFC stuff. But PFL, you know, they've been having these the tournament going on, these events happening. So Kevin Lee will be making his debut as a replacement fighter. I don't remember who he's replacing, but he's coming in debuting in a main event in a tournament in the semifinals too. So a lot of big things going on there, and Kevin Lee's got an easy way to come in and prove himself and do big things. But it seems to me, from my understanding of things, that he is a pretty big underdog against Gadzi Rabadanov. So he's got a big challenge in front of him, but we'll see what he has for the main event of this card happening tomorrow night. Co-main of this card, Liz Carmouche, former UFC fighter. Obviously she was big back in the day when she fought Ronda Rousey. One part of that first ever female fight in the UFC. And yeah, she seems like a big favorite in this one against Elora Dana, who is 8-0. And she's 1-0 in the PFL, but 8-0 overall. Liz Carmouche is 3-1 in the PFL. So Rabadanov, by the way, is 6-0 in the PFL. So Kevin Lee's coming in trying to take that O from him. We also have Mansour Barnawi versus Archie Colgan. Jake Hadley versus Mark Cirili Alves. Jake Hadley, good fighter. He's one of the big names in the PFL right now. He's 1-0, but I mean, he's definitely one of those names that have been thrown around. Everybody's, hyped about him. So he's in that fight there. We got Brent Primus, who is in big name in Bellator. He's 4-1 in PFL right now, fighting Alfie Davis, who's 1-1. And then we got, let's see who else. Let's look at this undercard. Magomedov making his debut against Azerbaijan Kamadiev. Some of these names are tough. And Ellen Dominguez versus Nick Meck. And those are the only names I really recognize. There's a few different female fights going on. But yeah, so that's your PFL lineup for tomorrow night. That's happening at let's see, prelims start at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern for the main card. So that makes it 5 p.m. here in Arizona on the West Coast. So, or west side of the country. I'm not really on the coast, you know what I mean. But yeah, check out PFL if you are interested. I'm interested to see what happens with Kevin Lee for sure. Brent Primus is in there. He's always fun to watch. So I mean, we got some names. Liz Carmouche, not bad. So I might check that out. Let's move on to another event happening this weekend, and the last thing for combat sports news, we got BKFC 76 happening in Texas, and in the co-main event, we definitely have a recognizable name, and that would be Andrei Arlovsky fighting Josh Copeland, another name we know. But Arlovsky just fought in Dirty Boxing a few months ago in their first official event and got the win, if I remember correctly. But yeah, Josh Copeland was in the PFL previously. He was in the UFC for a couple fights as well. So yeah, again, like I said, recognizable name there. Arlovsky has, I think he fought one other time in BKFC. I'm gonna double check that, but he's obviously been in the UFC. Let's see, DBX. Yeah, he got the doctor stoppage TKO win in DBX in their first event back in March. Before that, it was just UFC. So no, this is his BKFC. Oh no, he has no. He had a scheduled fight in BKFC that got canceled, and now he's fighting Josh Copeland. So his first fight in the BKFC here, after a long stint with the UFC, obviously. So yeah, he's didn't have a lot of luck in the last few fights of his UFC career. He was at 4 losses as he left the UFC, coming off a 4-fight win streak too, and then he went to DBX and got that win there, and now he's in the BKFC. So now he's taking part in the crazy action-packed, bloody type of combat sports. And to be honest, he's made for it. Arlovsky is one of those gritty guys that we've always known, and he's either getting knocked out or knocking someone else out. So that could be fun one to watch. We also have Jessica Evil Eye, who is debuting as well in the BKFC. She's a former UFC contender, and she's making her debut here. She fought in Bellator as well back in the day, but she had a long-standing UFC career and a couple title shots, I believe, as well, or at least one, but she got head kick knocked out by Valentina Shevchenko, so that one was tough. But she's making her debut in the BKFC, so if you're into some bare knuckle boxing, it's gonna be a fun one. Let's see who else is on this card that I recognize. Not a whole lot. Derek Campos versus Jake Heffernan. Jessica I's opponent is Maria Agapova. And then we have, yeah, I don't really recognize too many other of these names. But that's kind of how BKFC is. But I'll tell you this right now, you may not know who the fuck they are, but you're gonna like what you see. Because BKFC is definitely action filled. They're going at it like the whole time in BKFC. You know, there's shorter, short rounds, and it's action packed. And yeah, bare knuckle means you're gonna get cuts, and people are going to bleed. So you're definitely going to want to look out for that. So that's it for combat sports news for the week and the upcoming events for this weekend and all that good stuff. So let's move on to this weekend's UFC event, UFC Baku in Azerbaijan. We got Jamahal Hill versus Khalil Rountree Jr. happening on Saturday during the day, like I said earlier. So it's an early start time here in Arizona. It's going to be 9 a.m. for the prelims and then a 12 p.m. start for the main card. So I'll be waking up and watching some fights. I'll be awake way before that because I just can't sleep in that late, but not usually, at least. 8 o'clock is like sleeping in for me. It's stupid. But anyway, I'll wake up and watch some fights. So which means I'll have my phone attached, like it isn't already, but my phone will be on and I'll be watching the whole time, if not on the TV, before everybody else gets up. I'm always watching the fight somewhere, whether it's in my hand in my phone or a separate screen of some sort. But anyway, we have a six fight card for the prelims and then 6 fights in the main card. And we get started in the first prelim fight with the brother of the man who just got a win. Who just got a win last weekend. Mohammed Usman, Kamaru Usman's brother, will be fighting Hamdi Abdel Wahib, and he is undefeated 4-0, 1-0 in the UFC. Usman is 10-4 overall, 3-2 in the UFC. Had a couple setbacks there, but Usman is a beast, and fighting a big dude like Abdel Wahib, I mean, this could be a banger, but it could also be boring. We've seen Usman involved in some boring fights. But with the big fellas like this in the heavyweight division, you just never know what you're going to get. So it's always worth taking a look and seeing what's going to happen, because you could just get a huge knockout coming from these big guys. Moving on to the next one, we got Tagir Ulanbekov versus Azat Maksum. And I'll tell you this right now, these names are kind of tough because obviously this is in Azerbaijan, and that's already hard enough to say. Baku, Azerbaijan, that's already tough. And so, you know, being overseas, you're going to have a lot of hard names to say. So excuse my fuck ups, but we already know how it is. Tagir Ulanbekov, 5-1 in the UFC, 16-2 overall. Azat Maksum is 1-1 in the UFC, 15-1 overall. That's happening in the men's flyweight division. Next up for the women, Irina Alexeva versus Claudia Segula. 1-1 in the UFC for Alexeva, 5-2 overall. Segula is 6-2 overall, 0-1 in the UFC. I think that's how you say her name. Segula. I don't know. She looks kind of cute though, but that's happening in the women's bantamweight division. Next up on that right hand side, on the pictures on the screen, we got another fucking huge name to look. Daria Zelensnyakova. Fuck, man, that is tough. I need like text to speech when it comes to these names so I can like click on it and have it said for me, because oh my god, I'm not a linguist like that. But she's fighting Melissa. So it's weird because it says Dixon in the UFC events page, but on Tapology it says Melissa Mullins. So I don't know if she got married or something, or I'm not sure. But either way, we'll say Dixon. Dixon is 7-1 in overall, 2-1 in the UFC. Zalin Kiva, fuck, I don't know. She's 9-2 overall, 1-1 in the UFC. So that's in the women's bantamweight division as well. Next up, back to the men in the middleweight division, we got Ismail Noradiev versus the Iron Turtle, Jun Young Park. So that should be a damn good fight. Park is one of those characters, man. He's fun to watch fight, and if he wins, he's gonna dance for you, and that's always fun to watch. I don't know if he does it every single time, but I listened to him in an interview with Ariel Helwani, And Hawani was just asking him random questions. It was the first time he had him on the show, and he was like asking him what the first thing, what he would do to show him a good time if he went over to South Korea with him, and he said fucking drink. That's what he said. The man likes to drink, so and he likes to dance, so it's kind of funny. He's a character for sure. Just looking at him, he just looks like a funny guy, and he definitely does some funny shit. And he's a damn good fighter. So he's going to be facing off against Ismail Nordiev and the Iron Turtles, 8-3 in the UFC, 18-6 overall, 3-2 for Nordiev in the UFC, 24-7 overall. And that leads us to the final prelim leading into the main card. We got Seokyeon Ko versus Oban Elliott, another fun fighter, another guy who's entertaining as shit on the mic as well. I mean, the Hawani show has drops of him saying fucking hell, and I hear that shit all the time when I think of Oban Elliott. He was like, he like idolizes Chael Sonnen and the shit talking and the you know, just the speaking on, being on the mic and saying funny shit and cutting promos and stuff. He loves it. So you're always gonna get entertained by him if he gets the win. And he's a damn good fighter at that. 12-2 overall. He's 3-0 in the UFC. And I believe he has finished all 3 of those fights, if I remember. No. 2 out of the 3 are decisions. My bad. I don't know why I was thinking. Probably because his last fight was a good one against Basil Hafez, which was a damn good TKO with a performance of the night bonus for him there. You know, recency bias. I was just thinking of that. But Seokyeon Ko is making his debut in the UFC, 11-2 overall. Another South Korean fighter there. That should be a fun one in the welterweight division. Let's move on to the main card, and we got some pretty damn good fights going on in this main card. Mohamed Naimov versus Bogdan Grad. Man, something's bugging my throat. I keep feeling like I got a cough. Some whiskey will help. Naimov, though, 12-3 overall, 4-1 in the UFC. Never been stopped on the feet, 5-0 there, 3-1 by sub, 4-2 by decision, coming off a win. Grad is 29 years old, 15-2 overall. He's 1-0 in the UFC, 9-1 by KO TKO. Never been subbed, 3-0 there, 3-1 by decision, and coming off a win as well. This is happening in the featherweight division. Let's take a look at Naimov coming off a win over Khan Ofli in a unanimous decision there. Before that, he had a submission loss to Felipe Lima. But before that, he started off his UFC career with 3 wins in a row, with wins over Jamie Malarkey, Nathaniel Wood, and Eric Silva. Pretty good fucking wins there. 2 TKO finishes and 1 decision. So, yeah, good fights for him there. Good opponents, and coming off that win over Khan Ofli as well. And then we got Bogdan Grad, who is coming off that win. His only fight in the UFC. He's 1-0. Coming off the win over Lucas Alexander. TKO win for him there in the second round with a performance of the night bonus on that one. So we could have a potential banger for the first fight of the night for the main card. Let's move on and see who's up next. And that would be Nazim Sadikov versus Nicholas Moda. This could be a damn good one as well. All these fights have potential to be great. I feel like it's a pretty decent card considering being in Baku. You know, it's their first time there, so maybe they tried to get, you know, some pretty decent fights going on with that one just to, you know, get the crowd going or whatnot. You know, just the UFC coming there will have that happen. But when it comes down to it, if you don't have some good fights to follow it up, then, you know, coming back is tough. But we got Nas, 10-1 overall, 3-0 in the UFC, 7-0 by KO TKO, 2-1 by sub, 1-0 by decision. He's obviously on a 3-fight win streak in the UFC. Moda is 15-5 overall, 3-2 in the UFC, 10-4 by KO TKO, 0-1 by sub, and 5-0 by decision. Obviously, if he goes to decision, he's definitely hasn't lost there, but neither has Nas. And then, but those 10 wins by KO TKO, that's a pretty good number, double digits there. He has lost 4 times, and Nas has never been stopped on the feet. So, you know, the biggest thing here is Nazim has 1 loss by submission, and so does Moda, but Moda's never subbed anybody. So the only place that Nas has lost is by submission, and Moda hasn't subbed anybody. So, you know, if it goes to decision, it could go either way. The KO TKO favors Moda a little bit, but Moda's also on a 2-fight win streak. Let's take a look at Nazim's 3 wins in the UFC. Ismail Bonfim, that was a damn good win for him. Doctor stoppage after the first round. That was back in February. He had a majority draw with a fight of the night over Vishlayev Borshev. But then he's got a win over Terrence McKinney by rear naked choke. That was a damn good win. I remember that one. July of 2023. And then also a win over Evan Elder, another doctor stoppage. And that was another fight of the night. So he's got a couple fight of the nights under his belt. One of them being a draw even. But yeah, 3-0, 4 total fights in the UFC. And yeah, all of them have been finishes except for that draw, which was a majority decision and a fight of the night. So you know that shit was exciting. So Nas is one of those guys you definitely got to look out for and watch every minute of, because anything could happen. And then Moda is on a 2-fight win streak with wins over Mahashate Haiziar and Tom Nolan. Haiziar was a unanimous decision win in November last year, and then Tom Nolan was a TKO win for him there. Before that, he had a no contest against Trey Ogden, a loss to Manuel Torres, a win over Cameron Van Camp, and then a loss to Jim Miller for his first fight in the UFC. That's a tough ass first fight in the UFC. Holy shit. He is a Contender Series alum where he got a unanimous decision there. So this has definite potential to be a great fight in the lightweight division. Let's move on to the next one. We got Miktek Orobai versus Tofik Musayev. And Musayev is making his UFC debut. 22-5 overall, 18-1 by KO TKO, 2-3 by sub, 2-1 by decision. He's on a 2-fight win streak coming into the UFC. And Orobai, 13-2 overall, 2-1 in the UFC, 6-0 by KO TKO, never been stopped on the feet, never been stopped altogether. He's 5-0 by sub as well. Only lost 2 decisions. He has 2 wins there, and coming off one of those losses into this fight is Orobai. But this is happening in the lightweight division, and let's see who Orobai got that loss to. Mateusz Rebecki. It was a split decision loss and a fight of the night, so that was that bloody fight, and it was a crazy one for sure. I remember that fight, and I was like, holy shit, what the fuck is happening? These fools went back and forth. That's why it wound up a split decision. And yeah, it was entertaining as all hell. So as you can see in that top left picture, how bloody that was. Before that, he had wins over Elvis Brenner and Uros Medic. So, and those were both finishes, one by submission, one by TKO. No, I'm sorry, one by sub, one by decision. I don't know what I jumped ahead there. But he's coming from LFA, so and then we got Tofik Musayev. Yo, 305 Chunks in the chat. What's up? Looks like Jones versus Aspinall is not happening. Yeah, I covered that. That was what I was talking about earlier. Yeah, man, it's not looking good. That's a goddamn shame too. You know, it's unfortunate. And yeah, Jones just doesn't seem very excited about that at all. And that's a damn shame. So hopefully we get like some kind of a switch up going on in the near future, but at this point it doesn't look very good. So unfortunately that is not happening. So over to Musayev, who's making his UFC debut. He's coming off of 2 wins outside, coming from Ryzen actually, with 2 TKO finishes in those 2 wins. Before that, he was in Bellator. where he had one win and one loss in Bellator. So, but everything he does since 2021 has been a finish, whether it's him losing or winning. So this has potential again with Orolbai having that one crazy win against his last opponent in that bloody fight, and then you got the debut, who, like I was saying earlier, the debuts haven't been so great for everybody coming into the UFC lately. But Orolbai is not a fun guy to come in against to debut. So you might see a banger of a fight here with a lot of blood again if Orolbai does the same thing he did in the last one. Because he can obviously take a hit and withstand. So this could be a banger for sure. Moving on back to the heavyweight division. Oh, I just pressed the same button. There we go. Moving on to the heavyweight division, we got Curtis Blaydes looking to get back in that win column over Rizvan Kuniev, making his UFC debut. A lot of debuts in this card. He's on an 11-fight win streak outside of the UFC, and as you can see, he's only got 2 losses overall, 13 wins. Those 2 losses were by decision, but he's also got 3 wins in that category. Never been stopped. No TKO or submission losses. He's got 6 TKO wins and 3 submission wins, which is a notch above Curtis Blaydes, who's never won or lost by submission. So, you know, with Kuniev having 3 wins there, Blaydes not having any wins there, but also never being subbed, you know, it's a tough one, but he's got the upper hand there. Curtis Blaydes has definitely been knocked out before. He's 13-5 with the KO TKOs and 5-0 by decision, so he's never lost a decision either. He is coming off that loss though, and he's 18-5 overall. This is again happening in the heavyweight division. Let's take a look at who Curtis Blaydes is coming off that loss to. None other than Tom Aspinall, of course, for the interim title defense that Tom Aspinall had that I was talking about earlier. So, you know, that was after Blaydes had a win over Aspinall back in 2022 because Aspinall suffered that knee injury in the 15 seconds into the first round, man. That was a quick one. So with that, you know, Aspinall was able to come back healthy and defend his interim title versus Tom Aspinall. So, I mean, I'm sorry, Tom Aspinall against Curtis Blaydes. But before that, he had a win over Jelton Almeida, a TKO win there. And then before that, he lost by TKO to Sergey Pavlovich. When he beat Tom Aspinall, that was his 3rd win in a row. He had wins over Chris Daukaus and Jairzinho Rozenstruik. So, I mean, he's got big names under his belt as far as winning. You know, he beat Volkov, Junior Dos Santos. So, he's only lost to real big names like Ngannou, Derek Lewis, Tom Aspinall. He beat Alistair Overeem, Alexei Olenek, Mark Hunt. He's got a lot of big names under his belt. But, you know, things are different when you get a UFC debut guy. You never know if he's going to come out and have those UFC jitters, or if he's gonna come out and be impressive. You just really don't know. So he did fight twice in the Contender series with that was a TKO win in his last one in August of last year. Before that, in 2021, he fought as well and got a ground and pound win there, but I guess didn't get the contract. So he did fight once in the PFL as well against Renan Fajeda. Looks like it got overturned. If I remember correctly, I think he dropped dirty, and that's what that was about, but I don't remember 100%. So he'll be making his UFC debut against Curtis Blaydes. That's a hell of a first fight, and that could be a tough one. But it could also be boring. We've seen Curtis Blaydes in a lot of boring fights, and we just don't really know how Kuniev is going to come out in the UFC for the first time, because again, these guys coming into the UFC debuting have not had a lot of good luck lately. So we'll see what happens. Let's move on to the co-main event, which will be a banger, no doubt, because we got Rafael Fiziev versus Ignacio Bahamondes, and we've seen both these guys in some wars. Fiziev, though, holy shit, he's on a 3-fight losing streak. That's tough. Bahamondes is on a 3-fight win streak. I always trip out when they put these kind of records. I mean, yeah, like these kind of records together. Obviously, they know that both these guys can be entertaining and put on great fights, because we've seen Bahamondes in that crazy fight at UFC Noche, and we've just seen Fiziev go through some wars as well and be entertaining. So maybe that's why they put this together. Fiziev is 12-4 overall, 6-4 in the UFC, 8-2 by KO TKO, 1-0 by sub, and 3-2 by decision. Coming off of 3 losses, like I said. Bahamondes 17-5 overall, 6-2 in the UFC, 11-0 by KO TKO. That's a stat right there. Fiziev's been stopped on the feet, and Bahamondes never has, and has 11 fucking wins in that category. So there you go. These guys like to stand and bang, and that's a good sign. He's 2-2 by sub, where Fiziev's never been sub, but only has 1 win there. So not a big discrepancy, but Fiziev's never been finished on the ground, so that's something to think about. 4-3 by decision, and on that 3-fight win streak. So let's take a look at Fiziev, and he's got 3 losses, but look at these names. I mean, his 3 losses, 2 of them are against Gaethje. So, and they're decisions. He went the full time with Justin Gaethje twice. A majority decision loss to Gaethje the first time with the fight of the night there, and then a fight of the night in his last fight against Gaethje in March of this year. Unanimous decision win for Gaethje on that one. In between that, he had a TKO loss because of a leg injury to Mateusz Gamrot, and that was in 23. So he had a long layoff because of that injury before he came back and fought Gaethje again. Before those losses, though, he was on a hell of a win streak with a 6-fight win streak, with wins including RDA, Rafael dos Anjos, Bobby King Green, Renato Moicano, Mark Diakese, Brad Riddell, Alex White. It's a lot of big names, and if you look at all of the fucking like bonuses he's got, 2 fight of the nights with Justin Gaethje. He got performance of the night for RDA, performance of the night against Riddell, against King Green, fight of the night, performance of the night against Moicano, fight of the night against Diakese. That tells you a lot about what Fiziev can do and what you can expect from him. A lot of fight of the nights, a lot of performance of the night bonuses. So you can definitely expect an entertaining fight coming from Rafael Fiziev. Bahamondes, like I said, had that crazy fight against I'm fucking forgetting his name right now. September, was it Manuel Torres? No, I thought it was maybe it was Torres. Yeah, it was at Noche UFC. But he also is these three fight win streak that he's on, coming off of bonuses on all 3 of them. Performance of the night bonus win for a submission win over Jalen Turner. That's a tough ass opponent, a tough fight to win by submission, because Jalen Turner submits people with those long limbs of his. And then you got a performance of the night bonus over win over Manuel Torres, like I said, in that crazy fight. And then a performance of the night bonus over Christian Gallegos with a head kick TKO in that one. So 3 wins in a row, 3 performance of the night bonuses. His last loss was to Ludovic Klein back in 2023. He has wins over Trey Ogden, Rong Zhu, and Roosevelt Roberts as well, which that fight was also another performance of the night. So there you go, man. Contender Series alum Bahamondes, involved in a lot of fights that have led him to get bonuses. Same with Fiziev. So you're looking at fireworks in that co-main event. Should be interesting for sure. No matter what happens, you're gonna see a war. And to me, I'm looking forward to that fight for sure. 305 Chunks says, who has more charisma, Hill or Rountree? That's tough, man. Speaking of, we're moving on to that one as we speak. So we got Jamahal Hill versus Khalil Rountree. Who has more charisma? I don't think either one of them do, bro. Honestly, because I think Rountree's a little bit. I feel bad. He's such a nice dude. Like, he seems so like just nice. Except for when he's fighting. Obviously, he's a mean motherfucker. But because we've seen him in some wars, right? But as far as charisma, I don't know that either one of them has it, because Jamahal Hill's a little cringe. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like real sensitive. That's the only way I know how to explain it. He gets on his podcast in front of a mic like I am right now and just starts talking shit in the worst way, though. Like, sometimes it sounds good and makes sense. Other times it just sounds like he's crying, man. And like, I hate talking shit because I kind of like the dude. You know, like, he's got the funny little thumbs up tattoos, which also not great, but seemed like a character in the beginning. Now it seems like he takes himself a little bit too seriously. So I wouldn't consider either one of these guys charismatic for sure. Who has a bigger mouth? For sure, Jamahal Hill. Who has more skills? That's to be determined, because they're good. They're about to fight. But that's the thing. We've seen Jamahal Hill get beat up, right? Obviously, we had Alex Pereira, and we saw him get knocked out by him. I mean, we saw what happened with him and Yuri, which was his last fight. But I mean, before that, I mean, he looked like a beast. I mean, we've seen what he did with Glover when he won the title. So he's obviously former UFC champ. He never defended, but you know, he still was the champ. And it was cool as shit to see him get that championship, man. Like, how emotional he was. And leading up to that championship, including that fight, he had 4 bonuses. Performance of the night against Jimmy Crute for a TKO win. TKO win over Johnny Walker, where Walker had that weird fucking knockout where he just fell backwards like a fucking paper cutout of somebody. He looked like one of those. That's what it was. I actually made a video about it on TikTok, because he looked like one of those car wash like fucking blow up things that does this. That's what it looked like when Jamahal Hill knocked out Johnny Walker. Got a performance of the night there. Fight of the night against Thiago Santos. Maheta, that was a good one. And then he got the fight of the night against Glover. That was a bloody fight and a hard fought win, and Jamahal Hill got the win there. And then he turned around and lost it to Pereira. But I mean, not lost it, but tried to win it again against Alex Pereira, and then Pereira defended and he got knocked out, and then he got knocked out by Yuri as well in January of this year. So again, charisma, I would never describe either one of these guys as having charisma, honestly. I would just say Big Mouth award goes to Jamahal Hill. Rountree is just one of those guys that has confidence, but he seems humble. But man, he's a fucking beast, and you got to give him props, man. He was like over 300 pounds back in the day, and he got into MMA by wanting to lose weight. So he started taking classes, and next thing you know, he's fucking taking fights, and then, you know, then he's in the UFC and fighting for a title. And yeah, what's up, Zark? Zark81 in the chat says Olberg versus Hill. If Hill loses, send his ass to PFL. Oh my god, imagine the fucking shit show of a response that would be if Hill lost and they sent his ass packing. But that would be his 3rd loss in a row. I just don't see them letting him go just yet, because he's a big enough name for the UFC to be like, I don't want him going somewhere else yet. They'll give him another shot. Being a former, you know, champion, and the fact that, you know, he's still competing with the top level of guys, being that he lost to a champ, and then a guy who's been fighting to become a champ in Yuri. So I don't think they'll send him packing yet, but Olberg versus Hill would be a fucking banger. But I think Olberg versus either one of these guys would be a damn good fight. So that's a good call there. Olberg coming up to fight whoever wins this fight would be dope for sure. Let's see, Zark said RDR could beat half of the light heavyweight division, including Walker, Hill, and Reyes. Ooh, those are big words, man. He didn't look so good in that first fight. Like, not the way he looked in the last one, But I mean, I get it. I just don't know, man. That's tough. It's a different level of opponents, and I don't think he's shown anything that fantastic yet to just say, yeah, fucking he would get it. So I don't know. I think that would be tough for him. I think Walker for sure, but Hill and Reyes has been looking damn good. That last fight, he looked like the Reyes of old that we saw almost beat fucking John Jones. Even better than that, I think. So I don't think he's beaten Reyes. Hill, maybe back and forth. Let's see, 305 says, great analysis, brother. Thank you. Who would you rather have lunch with, Hill or Rountree? I have an answer for this one. I would have to say Hill. And the reason why I would say Hill is because I feel like Rountree is way too of that like spiritual type shit. And I don't know, man. I don't know if I could get down with that. I feel like Hill seems a little stuck up at times. You know what? How about I just say I would have no, I think I would pick Hill over Rountree and take my chances of him being kind of a douche. Because I feel like Rountree you could have a deep combo with, but he wouldn't know when to stop. Sark said, how would Saeed versus Bryce Mitchell go at 135? Well, that's that fight coming up next, right? I believe so. Shit, that's tough. I think that's a very tough fight for Bryce Mitchell. If Bryce Mitchell can get his head out of his ass, I think he can contend with him for sure, but I don't know, man. I feel like that one's kind of a toss-up. It's just a matter of which Bryce Mitchell we get. But Zark also said Khalil's the whitest black eye ever. Oh shit, that is hilarious, man. That is hilarious. And makes it even more funny because people say I'm the whitest Mexican they've ever met, because I'm like, I don't sound Mexican, I don't think, at least as far as I know. And on top of that, I don't eat beans and cheese. So people talk shit all the time that I'm the whitest Mexican. I've been called fucking names like coconut, brown on the outside, white on the inside, and all kinds of shit. So that's why that's so funny to me, because I fully understand what you're saying as well. Khalil might be the whitest black guy ever. I don't know. And then Zark also says, what's next for Whitaker after he loses? Damn, just calling on that loss from RDR. You're an RDR fan, huh? That's cool, man. I mean, yeah, he did big things in one. I just I feel like that first fight was tough for him, and I just don't know how he's gonna do against the upper echelon of the entire UFC. But Whitaker is also, yeah, he's on his last leg. I feel like he looked good coming back in that last fight, but I just don't know, man. I love Whitaker. I'm probably a big fanboy for Whitaker, like you are for RDR. But I see the decline. I see the potential for being done soon. I would love to see him go on another run and possibly get the title again and go out on top. That would be sick. But I'm more realistic than that. So RDR versus Whitaker is going to be a good one. And yeah, with RDR coming out on top, what's next for him? That is a toss up too. I mean, I haven't really checked out the rankings lately, but after beating somebody like Whitaker, I 100% feel like they're going to continue to give him higher and higher levels of competition. And I think that he is going to do well, especially if he dispenses of Whitaker in a big way. I think if it's a close, hard fight and he wins by decision, maybe the UFC won't be so quick to just throw him up there, but maybe so, who knows. I think the UFC knows where Whitaker stands at the moment, so it's going to be a big turning point for Whitaker with that RDR fight. Is Yuri Prohaska modern day Lyoto Machida? I think so, man. I think so. That's a damn good call. I never thought of it that way, and I feel like you're right. Yuri being the modern day Lyoto. Yeah, because Lyoto Machida is a weird motherfucker. He's just like drinking his piss and doing weird shit. I think Yuri's got him on the spiritual shit though, because I think Lyoto was more ingrained with the like traditional martial artists and martial arts type shit, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's a damn good call, Zark. Have you noticed that top 15 middleweights right now are Dagestan? Yeah, and I mean we can't really be surprised with the way that things have been going and the amount of Dagestani or Russian fighters that we have at the moment. I think Khabib started that wave, and yeah, I'm not surprised. So yeah, it's gonna stay that way too until people start dispensing of them and taking their spots. But I don't think you're ever gonna fully get rid of Dagestanis or Russians because they're tough fucking people in general. Is Aaron Pico legit as they say? Fuck yeah, he is. I'll stand on that. I think he had a lot of potential coming in, and I think 305 chunks with these fucking questions, man. But Aaron Pico is legit. I think he's got good hands and he's good on the ground. He's well-rounded. I think he just needs to lock in and remember where he's going right now. He's jumping into the UFC, and I think he needs to just pay attention to that and not come in too overconfident. Be strategic and know where he is and come in, because he has a fucking tough first fight with Movsar Evloev. That's fucking tough. So let's 305 Chunk says, who would you rather have lunch with, Lyoto or Yuri? I'll go quick on this one and say Lyoto, because he's a legend, and I feel like he's just one of those kind of, I don't know, man. That's a toss up. I shouldn't say it. I do like Yuri, but I feel like it's harder to understand Yuri. No, it's about the same. I'll go with Lyoto just for the legendary status. Zark said Bradley Martin and Nelk Boys do better at interviewing UFC. Dude, I'll give you that on Bradley Martin. I respect that dude. Like, he seems like kind of a cringe dude sometimes and a bit douchey, but I didn't like him at first when I first started hearing about him. But I listen to his podcast with Sarah Safari all the time, and I like it. And then I listened to Raw Talk with him as well. And yeah, when he interviewed, I'm glad he gave up on the 260 shit, you know, like the who would win in a fight shit, or a street fight, because I didn't like that. It was so annoying, you know. It's like, yeah, I get it, it's a bit or whatever, but it was just annoying. And I respect him though for being honest about what happened between him and Logan Paul. He said it multiple times recently that he got tired and gassed out and he basically lost. So, you know, I give him props for that, and I do like the guy. The Nelk Boys, I'm not big on them, to be honest, but I respect them for getting the things that they've gotten and been able to do with the UFC. And yeah, Aiden Ross streams, I don't think they're good for UFC fighters. Aiden Ross has his lane and he should probably just stick to that. But you know, if you can get the fighters on, that's good. Zark says, do you think Rampage might get his ass beaten because of mispronouncing? He keeps like saying cum slut. Oh shit. Bruh. No, I think Rampage is still a bad motherfucker, so I think Hamzat could probably take him down, but I don't think he's gonna get his ass whooped. Buck versus Morales would be nuts. Oh yeah, that would be a badass fight actually. I just don't know that Morales is there yet. I don't want to throw him into that yet. He's doing well, and I think they need to just keep stepping him up slowly so that you don't throw him to the wolves too quick and then have him, you know, because sometimes those guys start lose their first fight after, you know, winning big fights, and they get too ahead of themselves, and then it goes away. So it's tough. Khabib and Tony Ferguson as coaches would be legit. Yeah, but it would have been legit like 10 years ago. I don't think that's good right now. Khabib as a coach right now would be awesome, but Tony right now, he's a mess. I don't see that being a good thing. He was just weird and eccentric back in the day. Now he's just a mess, and I wouldn't want to see him go down that road. Cheeto Vera versus Malcolm Wellmaker might be a good test. No, but again, I don't want to throw these guys to the wolves like that, man. You can't bring these guys up too fast, because you're just wasting their talent. They're so young, and it's so early in their career. Malcolm Wellmaker, it's his second fight, bro. Like, give him a break. He's doing big things, but we gotta slowly progress so we don't burn him out quick or kill that career too fast. I feel like he's got a lot of potential to do great things, but let's let him work his way up to that. So that's how I feel about that one. But I mean, that'd be a damn good fight in the future. Just don't know about that. Watch OSP versus Hill. Hill can't handle leg kicks out of the southpaw stance because of how he circles. Hey, that's a good call. I think Hill has progressed a little bit from the OSP fight, but yeah, I mean, not a lot of people can take those Poaton kicks, so yeah, I guess maybe that's not a great thing for me to say. I still think he's gotten better. I don't know that we've seen him have to be challenged too much with the leg kicks recently. Maybe Yuri, Yuri probably kicked him. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point overall, honestly. I mean, I can't disagree. What do you think of Shamil the Meal Deal Kaziev? I mean, there's not much to think about him right now. I feel like he's a great fighter, and I don't have a lot of thoughts on him, honestly. If someone took a bet with you and it was like in the thousands, how much time do you give them to pay up? What the fuck? MMA Tubby. First of all, that's a fucking funny name, honestly. How much time do you give them to pay up? That motherfucker better be paying me within 24 hours. If you're talking about thousands of dollars, if they don't have the money to cover that shit, they shouldn't be making that bet. So if you want the real answer, there it is. The funny answer would be not even a second. If I don't get that money in hand that second, I'm fucking slapping you. Have you heard about the war right now near Iran? They might cancel the event in Baku. That's not gonna happen. Jamahal Hill prolonged his flight or missed a flight supposedly because he was worried about shit. They've interviewed a few people saying that everything went fine. It's been a week, man. You better find that motherfucker and smack him. You can get that money. The fuck? If you hosted a podcast, who would be the first guest? Well, I do host a podcast. It's right now. That's what I'm doing. If you're talking like dream guest, I don't know, man. I'm too indecisive. I overthink things. If you don't know, I'll tell you, I have interviewed a few professional fighters. Daniel James, who used to fight in Bellator, and he had one fight in Ryzen. I interviewed him about a month and a half ago or something like that. And then I interviewed just recently, a few weeks ago, I interviewed Rob the Wolf Perez, who just got a big win in DBX2, Dirty Boxing. And he's going to be fighting for the first heavyweight title versus Jairzinho Rosenstruck. So go to my channel and check it out, man. It was a good interview. I had a good time with him. And then Daniel James was a really good down-to-earth dude, and I liked him a lot. So they're good interviews, man. And I appreciate Combat Sports Today. Go follow their page as well. They cover a whole ton of stuff, and I might have some stuff in the works with them in the future. But I do fighter interviews with them, so we collab, and I post them on my page as well. So go check it out. MMA Tubby says it's over the internet. I don't know him personally, so do I play it off nice to start? Yeah, because if you can't get to him right now, then yeah, you're gonna have to keep that on the low and play it off until you can get some info on how to collect in person if you have to. Does Bahamundes have a bright future ahead if he gets... Yes, if he gets past Fiziev, I think he definitely has... yeah, he's got some big names ahead of him. Fiziev's like that first big test, and we'll see how he does, but I think it's going to be a fun fight regardless. So okay, maybe I should get back to this. That's fun though, man. I really like the interaction. I get caught up in these questions, especially when they're funny and shit, or even when they're just real, because I like talking fights and MMA and stuff. So appreciate the interaction. Yeah, we got Jamahal Hill versus Khalil Rountree. This is your main event. 12-3 for Hill, 6-3 in the UFC, 7-3 by KO TKO. He's not been finished on the ground, but he also doesn't have any submissions either, so not a whole lot going on the ground for him there. 5-0 by decision, so if it goes the distance, he's got the upper hand there, because Khalil Rountree does have 2 losses by decision, but he's got 4 wins. He has been submitted once, and he's 9-3 by KO TKO, 9-6 in the UFC. And, you know, we've been talking about Jamahal Hill. Thank you for streaming, brother. Yeah, for sure. 305 Chunks. Thank you, man. I appreciate the interaction for sure. The questions and stuff. It's always cool to fucking talk and interact with people. So thank you guys for, hopefully you're all subscribed. And I know 305 Chunks and Zark probably are because they come in every once in a while. So I appreciate that for sure. Yeah, Jamahal Hill, you can see that that big punch against Maheta right there, and then that bloody fight against Teixeira where he won the title. MMA Tubby, I can't pick main event. I'm lost. I was all over Usman last week. That's how I won. $3,500. God damn. Yeah, that's some money, bro. You need to collect. So do what you got to do to make that happen. But yeah, definitely start off nice so you have a better chance. Because if it's over the internet, you can get ghosted real quick, like if you start threatening. So yeah, play it nice. Try to get some info and collect that money. Send the fucking Cash App or fucking Zelle or some shit. Be like, hey, I'm waiting. But yeah, Jamahal Hill's got those skills. We know he's got hands. We know he can wrestle a bit. But as I believe it was Nate earlier said, he doesn't take leg kicks well. And, you know, he gets frustrated and he kind of it almost feels like he quit. Does Zell work again? I believe so. It works with my bank. I know that. Oh, that's right. They did do that whole thing with Zell going down. I think it works again. I'm not sure. I just said it because it was the first thing that came to mind. I was thinking of Cash App and Venmo is what the other one I was thinking of. But yeah, I mean, Jamahal Hill, you know, we've seen him how he didn't have much to give with that Potato fight. The whole kicking in the nuts thing with the short pause, with Herb Dean and not knowing what to do and kind of letting things go. He made, I want to say excuses, but he said that, you know, he was thrown off by that. But you gotta be on the defense all the time. You gotta be, if the fight's not stopped, then you damn sure better be ready to fight. So who's more active in a fight? Usually Khalil or Jamahal. I would say Khalil probably will start the activity first, but there's probably going to be a feeling out process in this one. I don't know that Jamal's really aggressive right away, so I would say Khalil in this instance. I feel like Khalil's got those Muay Thai skills that, remember, he came back from Thailand that one time and was a fucking nightmare. So I think he's gonna work those leg kicks quick, like Nate said. Hill's not the best with them, so I think he's gonna try to chop those legs down a little bit and really get some of that energy levels down on Jamahal Hill. Elbows and clinch advantage to who? I would have to say Khalil Rountree again, because again with that Muay Thai training that he got, he was feeling himself with that shit. So I think inside with the clinch, he's going to get those elbows going, and that's probably going to be a good upper hand for him. But Jamahal Hill just needs to catch Khalil with some big punches early on. And the thing about Khalil Rountree is that he gets hit a lot. We've seen that in the past with everything, all the fights that he's had. He gets hit all the time. I think he has a higher rate of getting hit than he does of actually landing significant punches and strikes. So that's a bad thing, because if you get hit by Jamahal Hill, who has heavy hands, then you're gonna go out. But we also saw him withstand that war with Poaton, where he landed some strikes of his own on him, as you can see in that picture on the top right. But that's a good take. If he's getting hit a lot, Hill could have a field day. Yeah. The thing is, I mean, he gets hit a lot, but he also, I mean, he's durable. We saw his face get fucking mangled against Poaton, and he stayed in there. So, I mean, yeah, of course he wound up losing, but I mean, he stayed in there till the 4th round after his nose was fucking annihilated. So it's a toss-up a little bit. I feel like it depends on what Jamahal Hill shows up. I think Khalil's gonna be there to he's ready for war. I just don't know if I just don't know if Hill is on the up and up, because if you think about it, Hill has the delusional confidence and Rountree has the heart. That's a good take. That's a good take by MMA Tubby right there. Hill has the delusional confidence. Rountree has the heart. That's a damn good take. I 100% agree with that. And that's basically what I was getting at. Because Hill, if he even has the slightest thing wrong with him and he comes in, it's almost like he has a predetermined excuse. So it's almost like he's ready to use that if anything goes wrong. And Khalil Rountree is one of those guys that's just like there. Again, he has the heart. And he wants it so bad. You could see the disappointment on his face. You could see the emotion that he had after losing that fight, because that was his chance to get that title. And you know, he fought so hard and withstood everything, and he just fell short. MMA Tubby says, man, I'm picking Khalil. That's a good pick, I think. I just feel the hunger from him. It's so close though. No lock. No, definitely not a lock, but I think Khalil is the right way to lean for sure, because Hill is so just wishy-washy, I feel like. So yeah, I mean, those are some good takes there from MMA Tubby, and a funny ass name. I like that. It's hilarious. So yeah, and that's really all I got. I mean, we already know what we're getting into here, and you know, Khalil was on a 5 fight win streak with wins over Anthony Smith, Chris Daukaus, Dustin Jacoby, Carl Roberson, and Modestas Bukauskas before he met Poaton for that title fight. So he was on a good run. Maybe not the biggest names, but some decent fucking names. And you know, like you said, we've got heart in this one. So and Jamahal is a bit delusional sometimes. So while I'm eating McDonald's now, I need to start a diet ASAP. Hey, take your motivation from Khalil Rountree, who was over 300 pounds, and then look at him now. The motherfucker's ripped and has fought for a UFC title and is in a big fight this weekend. So if you need some motivation, and there's some videos out there. Some people call him soft and think that it's funny that he's just such a, like, they say he cries too much, but hey, he's in his feelings a lot. Who knows? He's a sensitive dude too, in a different way than Jamahal Hill. Jamahal Hill just gets mad and starts talking shit, thinks everybody hates him, and Khalil just gets emotional because he feels a lot of feelings. So anyway, that's your main card and your main event for UFC Baku. And let's get into the fight wheel real quick for predictions, because as much as I can break these fights down, I am fucking dog shit at picking. And I'm not afraid to say it. And there's definitely proof to that. If let's see, hold on. There's definitely proof to that if you saw me betting in the past. So let's go. Who would you trust more with confidential information? Hill or Rountree? Rountree, 100%. And I'll tell you why. Because Jamahal Hill gets in front of a fucking mic and says everything. Again, all you have to do is hurt his feelings a little bit, and he's gonna just mouth everything off. So I would trust Rountree more for sure. Let's see what the fight wheel has for us today, as I let the fight wheel predict the fights just for the main card. So we got 6 fights on the main card, and the first prediction will be Nazim Sadikov to get the win over Nicholas Moda. So there's your first prediction, and I'm trying something new here. So we got Nazim Sadikov. Oh, come on, you got to be shitting me. Well, I'll just type it in. There's your first winner, Sadikov, for the win. According to the fight wheel, we're going to take that name off and his opponent's name off, and we'll spin again. I'm taking the guy with the heart all day for sure. What's the wheel for? Oh, it's just fight predictions. Who's going to win the main card? So in the main event, here you go. The fight wheel predicts Jamahal Hill to win. I don't agree with that, but that is what the wheel is saying. So for some backstory, I was trying to bet every pay-per-view, and I sucked at it. I was losing all the time, so I decided to do something different and leave it to chance. Damn the magic wheel. That's what I say, but what I always tell everybody is take this with a grain of salt. do what you want with it. If you want to take this main card picks and parlay it and throw like $5 on it, good for you. And if you win, even fucking better. You don't even got to give me credit. But if you want to just disregard all of this, go for it. Just keep watching and see what the wheel has to say, and we'll check in next week and see how accurate it was. So far we got Sadikov and Hill for the wins. Next up we got Tofik Musayev to beat Miktek Orobai, and I don't know about that one because Musayev is making his UFC debut. I don't think I spelled that right, but I'm gonna go ahead and say who cares. But him beating Orobai, that's gonna be tough. And we could also take the opposite of the wheel. Oh, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I like the idea of the wheel or toss-ups. Yeah, we're just leaving it to chance because I don't want to be the one that just sucks at picking all the time, and I do suck. So I think too much about it, man. I can never make up my mind. So let's see. We got 3 down, 3 to go. We got Rizvan Kuniev to beat Curtis Blades. Man, the wheel is saying that the UFC guys, the guys that are debuting, are going to be winning. So that might be a way to go for a parlay. Get all the UFC debut guys and parlay them together for the wins. So there's that one. 2 fights left. Let's see what's next for UFC Baku and what the fight wheel predicts. Bogdan Grad to beat Mohamed Naimov, I believe. Yes. So that's an easy one to spell. And last but not least, let's get rid of Naimov's name there. Last but not least, Ignacio Bahamondes versus Rafael Vaziv. Who was the ground advantage for the main event? Let's see. Oh, Vaziv for the win. And that's it for the fight wheel. So there's all your winners to the left. I'll answer that question in just a second. All right. So there's your winners for the fight wheel predictions. Who has the ground advantage for the main event, and can they keep the other down? I want to say if anybody has the advantage, neither one of these guys have much going on. Jamahal Hill is 0-0 in submissions, and Khalil Rountree is 0-1. So, I mean, if you go by the numbers, I would say Hill, but I don't think he's got what it takes to keep Khalil down. I don't think either one of these guys will have the advantage of keeping the other one down, except for maybe raw, just strength. That might be where Khalil Rountree will probably come up on top. So once again, Khalil Rountree coming up ahead of Hill on another category. So I'm thinking Hill is the right way to go here. So the fight wheel's probably incorrect, but you have Nazim Sadikov, Jamahal Hill, Musayev, Kuniev, Grad, and Vaziv. All the EV last names. Look at that. All the last names that end in V. Holy shit. There's your winners according to the fight wheel with the fight wheel predictions. And that's it. That about wraps it up. I am glad that early card Saturday, yes, MMA Tubby, it will be. I don't know where you're located, but I'm in Arizona. So for me, the prelims are going to start at 9 a.m. and the main card will be starting at noon for me. So depending on where you are, if you just Google UFC events, it'll bring up this this little page real quick that'll tell you, and if you have your location turned on, it'll tell you what time it's going to start for you. And you can click on prelim card or main card, and it'll tell you right there for your time zone what time things will start. So it is an early card for the overall answer to that on Saturday. So don't miss it. Wake up early, get yourself some coffee, or wow, wake up to fights. Exactly. Wake up, get yourself some coffee, or shit, if you want to have a drink that early, do what you got to do. As for me, I'll definitely be watching and come back on Sunday. I don't think I'm gonna do it Saturday night. I almost thought about saying I would do it Saturday night, but I will definitely do the recap Sunday night. So come back to the same channel, same time, and listen to the recap of everything that I just previewed on this show. And don't forget to like and subscribe and share with somebody, comment on things, and hit that notification bell so you know when I go live or put out any other time. Again, MMA Tubby, it depends on where you are, but it's 7 o'clock my time. So I go live at 7 p.m. almost always. But hit that notification bell so that way you get notified when I am live or when I release anything. Because if I do interviews, I release them after the fact. So, you know, you'll get notified if I put something out there. But yeah, thanks again for all the interaction. MMA Tubby, Zark81 as usual, 305 Chunks, Nate. Yeah, it was cool, man. It was fun. I appreciate you guys for all the interaction. Who's your favorite fighter? I got a couple different ones. Cowboy's always been a favorite of mine. Khabib was my biggest favorite. Yeah, and Nate Diaz, the Diaz brothers. But I guess if you want to talk about modern day, 100% modern day right now, I'm gonna have to think about that. Come back next time and remind me, and I'll tell you. Because modern day fighter, I like Sugar Sean, but I also like a lot of people. It's tough. I like Volkanovski, Israel Adesanya, Robert Whittaker. I'm indecisive, man. That's why I sucked at picking fights. So thanks again. Appreciate that comment. He said also great content. See you Sunday. Yeah, come back for the recap of everything. That's it for me. I'm out of here. Take it easy. Peace.